Hi there, and welcome to the next video in our Digital Journey series. My name is Charles, and I'm from ExoSystems. At ExoSystems, we focus on helping our customers to digitize fast, be agile, and stay relevant in a changing world. If you'd watched our first ASW overview video, you would have gotten an introduction to the application strategy workshop, the roadmap that we're trying to drive out of it, and understood more about how to approach that workshop and the steps that you need to follow. We share this based on the experience that we have helping customers to go down these roadmap paths and to drive the digital journey. Today, I'll be taking you into more detail and showing you an example of how we've run an application strategy workshop and actually showing you examples of the output that comes from it. So just to recap the important aspects that we help our customers with in this modern world, ultimately, if you're trying to stay relevant and stay digitally relevant in the modern world, you want to think about multi-touch experiences, both for your staff and for your customers. These should ideally be end-to-end journeys for whatever they're trying to achieve that are cross devices and solutions. You need to be driving agile solutions, which means that you get to them quickly, you get value out as fast as possible, but you continuously iterate and learn, and this is how you future-proof your solutions. You want to be able to modernize any systems. So the idea isn't to replace all your systems. There's already a massive investment in what you have. You want to be able to put these new digital solutions on top of the systems that you have already and start bringing your legacy into the new environment that you need to work. And finally, you want this to be largely skills independent from the traditional technical skills. They're at a premium as it is, and you want to rather focus in your effort on making sure that you're thinking about new ways for your business to serve your customers and your employees. On the digital journey, as I said before, the application strategy workshop really focuses on bringing together a roadmap on your initiatives, and we'll speak more about how this drives forward. The next step after this is ultimately to help you detail your first solution and drive forward, and we have a video around this that will be coming out shortly and a webinar, so look out for the link at the end. So what is an application strategy workshop? Ultimately, it's a way of allowing organizations to reach their goals by analyzing their business functions, current state, looking at the systems you already have in place, prioritizing and understanding the pain points that you have, using ideation, creative solution thinking to come up with a way forward and to come up with a roadmap of ideas, ultimately to have some priority and structure to your digital journey, which is extremely important. Again, for a quick recap, for an overview of how an application strategy workshop generally runs, your audience should come from multiple lines of business. They should have 4 to 8 attendees. We find this is the best number, and should have business and technical participants. Generally, a good duration is 2 to 3 hours, and we have the approach laid out here, which you can see in our overview as well. Fundamentally, keep the spirits up, use great ideas and examples to make sure that you're driving ideation into the room, and keep prioritizing and driving forward in a positive way. Ultimately, the outcome that you want is a structured, actionable roadmap. So again, at a high level, the six steps that we'll be going through today are identifying goals and strategies, building business functions map, drilling down on low-rated processes, ideation on how to fix that, developing proof points to make sure that you're moving forward, and develop a plan of action and socialize those results. So let's go through the results of an application strategy workshop. So the first step is to identify goals and strategies. Now, these need to be business goals and business strategies that really collectively bring everyone together at the top of the room. We find this is a very key conversation at the beginning of the workshop, and it's really helped us to bring out the clear view and the guiding light, if you want to call it that, the light on the hill, to rally everyone around together and make sure you're moving forward in the right way. Here we have the examples of the application strategy workshop we ran, where the sample goal is reduce the cost of operations by 20%. That's a very good goal to generally have in a business. And the strategy to execute that is going to be to automate manual business processes and create integrations between systems to streamline admin tasks, so lowering the cost of doing your work. Another thing we want to do is increase customer retention by 30%, which is hugely important. This customer being in the insurance space, being able to retain customers is extremely important. So creating additional engagement channels for customers, making sure that your customers can operate with you on the terms that they feel works best for them, very important. And then in support of that, you want to be able to modernize your operations and experience processes related to customers. Again, this is something that you really need to make sure that you keep focus on. Don't just focus on the customer experience. you also need to focus on the operations side of your business to make sure it can serve your customers in the right way. Great. So the next step then is to build out a bit of a function map of your business. And this is normally done in a format of listing out all your departments and then bringing forward the underlying processes and ranking them. So in this instance, what we did is because we're dealing with an insurance company, we picked 3 of them, which was the claims business or the claims department, the marketing, which is actually about acquisition and retention of customers, and the underwriting departments. So under claims, we picked a couple of processes, which were basically assessment, which we gave a scoring of 2 out of 3, as in of maturity and everything's working all right, and claims processing, which we gave a 1. So it might be working well in terms of the technical systems, but there might not be great collaboration between the different role players, which slows down the overall process. On the marketing side, customer onboarding, yes, there's a process, but it's very paper-driven, not ideal, and you want to be able to digitize that more, and it could be improved further. And customer self-service, so the ability for customers to maintain their own policies, initiate their own claims, find out more information about your products, is virtually non-existent. So we scored that as 0. And then underwriting, which is normally fairly well served inside an insurance business, the risk scoring has got a 3, so it's well put together. But fraud analysis isn't great because it relies on individual pieces of information rather than a collaborative approach. So that could be improved as well. Great. So now we've put together our business function map, and we're going to pick some of the areas that really have pain points to go and try and drill down more and understand more about that. So what we did, and if you'll remember, the customer self-service was very low rated. So we've picked that one, and we're going to drill more, and we have drilled more into the pain points. The pain points are really that there's no mobile digital customer self-service channel, so the customers can't self-serve in any way through a mobile digital channel. Policy management can only be done by agents, so it requires a phone call or an email and then waiting for policies to be changed. Not great for the customer. Customer-related activities, like we said, policy management, claims processing, etc., requires a lot of staff intervention, which creates frustration and then a lot of operational costs to do that. And what we can see here is that the extremely low customer satisfaction scores, which is not going to help in terms of customer retention. So we need to work on that. On the system side, if we're looking at pain points, there's multiple operation systems, which is not uncommon, and they've been built and bought over time, but they aren't well integrated. So it requires an agent or an operations person to interact with a lot of different systems in different ways to try and get work done. Not ideal. 60% of those systems are actually end of life. So they're legacy and they're costing the business a lot to maintain. And as we see in the next point, the functionality of those systems don't actually match well to the current processes and how the business works. So big pain point. And there's limited web channels for customers and basically no mobile channels for customers to self-serve. So that's why we've got such a low rating in this area. Looking at some of the key KPIs and metrics for this area that are important to consider is that there's 2,000 employees, so we want to make sure we're using them as effectively as possible. We need to process 230 claims a day. We need to do 100 policy modifications a day. We want our CSAT, so our customer satisfaction, to target a score above 4 out of 5, which is a very aggressive but a very doable score. And ultimately, and we've seen this with a number of our other customers, that they've seen a lot of success in the digital space, is to try and drive up to 50% of their claims through the self-service channels rather than through call centers or agents, which really helps your operations staff free up to serve the customers that really need that help. Great. So now that we've identified these pain points, let's start becoming creative and looking at the ideas. So the ideas that we came up with in this instance are really around 2 core pillars. The one pillar is digital customer experience. So externally facing, how do we make sure that the customer is happy? And the first idea there was building a customer mobile app that really allows us to communicate directly with customers in a singular way, so we can speak to them about their specific scenario. They can do claim submission, they can get notifications, have status tracking on what's going on their claims. They've got up-to-date contact information for their dedicated agents, digital business cards. So really a good, robust mobile app. The second idea that we're thinking about is outside of a mobile app, but in a browser that can be used on a laptop or on a mobile phone, is to give our clients access to their policies, being able to see what's going on, what their premiums are, if they want to modify, if they want to add or remove people from it. It's great. And really being able to allow the customer to take control of their data. and even initiate live chats with operations agents. The second pillar that we always put forward, and that makes a lot of sense, is to make sure that you've got a digital operations pillar that supports your customer experience. So the idea here is to put in a claims collaboration system on top of your current systems to allow all of your agents, all of your stakeholders that work on claims to interact, to have a view on what's going on, to be communicated with, and really have a single interface that really integrates all of your agents and keeps your customer updated. Excellent. The second idea, and this is a traditional management challenge that we see in insurance businesses, but in many businesses, is that it's really difficult to get a single dynamic view of what's going on across the processes from a management level. So why don't we put in some dynamic dashboards, clear visualization, manage in real time, and really have consolidated reporting that speeds up decision making. Excellent, some great ideas there. Great, so now that we've come up with those ideas, let's put down some proof points that we're going to want to have in place as we bring these ideas to life to make sure that we're moving in the right direction. So here we have a sample of them. We can see some of them are about technology, rightfully so. So being able to integrate across multiple systems, what we call orchestrating. So like an orchestra being able to play in harmony, you want to be able to have multiple systems working together well. It needs to be able to be scalable so we can support all of our operations people. There needs to be notification of systems. There needs to be the ability to put out great native mobile apps. We need to be thinking about security and information standards. So those are all important points, and we listed them out here. Excellent. Now, the final step is that we need to develop a plan of action and socialize it. So again, the digital journey is about making sure that we're keeping everyone inside the business excited. We're listening to feedback. We're learning as we go along. And you might find that you'll come back and revisit the application strategy workshop once a quarter, once a month at the beginning, maybe once a year as you stabilize. And we really find when we're helping customers through this journey and doing application strategy workshops that keeping everyone on board and keeping everything consolidated and fresh really helps keep the momentum inside the business. So that's it for the application strategy workshop. Hopefully you found this valuable, and you'll see now the steps that you can take and the important aspect that you're driving towards, which is having a prioritized roadmap that's really based on an understanding of your business and that can help you drive forward on your digital journey. Again, just to recap where we are on the digital journey, we're at the roadmap phase where we've managed to prioritize and identify further the initiatives that we want to drive out over our digital journey and over the digital path that we follow. And the next step will be to actually detail out the first solution even more and move it towards creating your first value. So look out for our next video and our upcoming webinar for that, and please reach out to us. Thank you very much. I hope that this was valuable, and click on the links below to register for our webinar and look out for the other videos in this series.